right, y'all. AFC West time. We are going to talk about this interesting division. When you look at this division, you know, you kind of see one team and you're like, it's a runaway. They've been dominating this division for years now. But it is a improving division, really fast improving division. Um, but the AFC West is interesting. It's very interesting in a lot of aspects of it. But the most interesting part is the teams have been at the bottom for the last few years. These teams made significant changes, but are they making the right changes? That's the big question that every commentator, every sports analyst has been asking is, are they making the right changes to catch the team that has been killing this division for the last however many years? Whenever Patrick Mahomes got drafted, I mean, that's how long this feels like this has been going on. Anyways, AFC West, this will conclude the division series for our preseason predictions for this upcoming NFL season. Excited. It's only a few weeks away, but if you haven't, check out the rest of our division episodes. They're all over the channel. Go check them out. Tell us how you feel, and let's get into it. So, AFC West. At my 4th seed, I got the Denver Broncos at 6-11. Okay, they drafted Bo Nix. I think Sean Payton's onto something. I was watching ESPN earlier today, and they were talking about how when the Saints didn't get the opportunity to draft Patrick Mahomes, but Sean Payton was onto something. He felt like this was his redemption. This was a chance to be like, okay, let me redo my Patrick Mahomes mistake and let's get all at Bo Nix because he reminds me of him. I don't know how true that is about how much, all at Bo Nix compares to Patrick Mahomes, but that's really interesting to me. Looking at this is a young team that's been rebuilding for a while. That defense is kind of iffy, and they also lack a lot of depth on both sides of the ball. No disrespect to him, but when you have Zach Wilson as your number 2 quarterback, it's kind of concerning to me. But I certainly enjoyed playing against him on the Patriots. So, it's something that happens. But anyways, you got Zach Wilson as a backup quarterback, and that defense is kind of, it's kind of gone downhill for the past few years. So 6-11 for the Denver Broncos, and that's just kind of how the year is going to go for them. Going to my 3rd place team, and this team is going to kind of surprise a lot of people. I got the Las Vegas Raiders coming in at 7-10. Quarterback is the biggest question. You got Aiden O'Connell, and just announced last week, Gardner Minshew will be starting week 1. I don't know how that's going to be. Gardner Minshew is not really, he's not a playoff quarterback. He's not a quarterback that, you could depend on to get you to the Super Bowl. Maybe he could do something what Nick Foles did in that magical Super Bowl run where he comes in the last 2 games and wins them a trophy. I don't know if Gardner Minshew could be like Nick Foles, but when looking at the quarterback tiers, that's kind of where I would put him. So Gardner Minshew, not my guy for the playoffs. But they had a great draft. They drafted the tight end out of Georgia, Brock Breyers. I forgot his last name. But this is a young team that's also on the uprise. I think Zamir White's going to be a standout running back. I know I've been telling EJ, I don't really believe in him. I don't think he's that good, mainly because his O-line is terrible. So we have that to talk about. But Zamir White is not really like a franchise running back yet. He could be. And also, I think Devontae Adams gets traded midseason at the trade deadline this year. Quote me on that. He's not happy there. If you watch the documentary series on Netflix called Receiver, you could kind of see that Devontae doesn't want to be there. He wants to win. He wants to win a championship. And he doesn't want to be in a fiasco type of environment where the quarterback is always changing. Whatever quarterback he plays with, he's not happy with. He's kind of a diva, but It's Devontae Adams, bro. I mean, how you go from Aaron Rodgers prime to playing with Aiden O'Connell? I mean, that's kind of. I mean, I know I'm being pretty disrespectful towards Mr. O'Connell here, but hey, come on, man. I mean, like, let's be real. Well, first and foremost, he went from playing A-Rod to Jimmy G. Jimmy G's not that bad. It's just he almost got Devontae killed a couple times. But we're not going to talk about that. So, Las Vegas Raiders at 7-10. Improving team. A lot of questions on offense. And the defense is improving. Probably going to be a top 15, top 16 defense this year. So, going to my second place team, I got the Los Angeles Chargers also coming in at 7-10. New coach, new offense. Lost Austin Eckler though. And they lost Keenan Allen. Defense is still very weak when you are looking at fantasy lineups and you have a player playing against the Chargers. Expect high volume and high production. This team has this team has a lot of work to do to get back to where they want to be. Justin Herbert is definitely elite, unlike Josh Allen, but they have a lot of work to do to win more than 7 games. But I don't see them winning no less than 7 games this year, or no more than 7 games. I think this is a pretty average 7-10 season for Harbaugh's first year back into the NFL, coming off a national championship. Let's not talk about that. So 7-10, I think they draft. I mean, the Chargers drafted Joe Alt with their pick at number 5. You had some pretty big receivers on the board. You could have drafted Rome Tuesday, so really concerning on that aspect, but it was their choice. They wanted to give him some protection up front. I get it. Pretty weak O-line. So, but you could have had a number 1 receiver. Now it's kind of like, who's going to be your guy? Now we're going to go to the number 1 seed in this division. This is kind of an obvious one, but I'm going to take the Chiefs at 10-7. The reason why I have them at 10-7 is because they lost a significant amount of pieces this offseason. Biggest one, in my opinion, was L'Jarius Sneed. How do you replace that on defense? And why would you leave a team like this for the Tennessee Titans? No disrespect to any Titans fans in the chat, but why would you leave Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid for Tennessee Titans, Will Levis, new coaching staff? Get it, on paper, you might kind of view the roster of Tennessee and be like, it could be Super Bowl contenders. No. It confuses me. So they lost L'Jarius Sneed. This team is going through some rough patches in the offseason with the Rashid Rice incident. Patrick Mahomes was kind of, with his new receiver, Xavier Worthy, he didn't seem so good at the beginning of training camp, and still there hasn't really been a big boom from him. So that's concerning to me. And then, looking at the rest of it, I mean, it's something that you got to figure out. It's the Chiefs. They perform in the playoffs when it matters the most. They did draft pretty well, but like I said, they have a lot of drama, and they did not have a good free agency. They lost more than they gained, and also the receiver side of it, it's concerning. Rashid Rice has a charge pending. Kadarius Toney's apparently number 9 on the list, and it's just Xavier Worthy is young, so Hollywood Brown, he got hospitalized. Post mid training camp. What's up with him? So looking at that, they didn't really do much in the offseason. I see them starting 0-2. But it's the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes. And for my Eagles fans out there, if Patrick Mahomes goes down, don't you worry. Your ginger bearded greatness friend, or great friend, Carson Wentz, is ready to get in there and take him to the promised land. No. If he pulls what Nick Foles did, that'd be a story. But Chiefs 10-7. They didn't draft so well, they drafted well. They have a lot of drama, but at the end of the day, it is Andy Reid. It is Patrick Mahomes. I trust them to still be relevant, still be good. 10-7, they're going to struggle throughout the year. All some growing pains, just like last season. I mean, people were kind of crapping on them, like, oh, the Chiefs are, they're not a Eli dynasty anymore. And now people are talking about, like, can they do a three-peat? Can they win 3 in a row? Can they go back to the Super Bowl? I think if a team is gonna do it, it's gonna be the Chiefs. But unfortunately, with the AFC how it is now, the like Bengals possibly could all be back up there. I don't see the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. I think they're gonna have a rough year, a lot of growing pains, and I think this is the first year Patrick Mahomes will suffer a Super Bowl hangover. They'll make the playoffs. They're possibly going to lose to Joe Burrow or even like Baltimore, because now they play Baltimore in Week 1, and the way I see that going is just like how Detroit, beat them. They're going to lose to Baltimore Week 1, but then beat them in the playoffs. But Baltimore could beat them, so let's not get ahead of ourselves there. But anyways, Chiefs win this. Also, talking about the West, had to wear my Snoop Dogg shirt, West Side, king of the West Side. There's a lot of kings, but I consider him. But anyways, this concludes our division predictions. This concludes our NFL predictions for the season. I'm looking forward to Week 1. That starts next week. I love you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram. See you guys in Week 1, and as usual, go Patriots and screw the Eagles. So, adios.